Good day, boys and girls. We are looking at computer management at grade 11 level. Computer management is very important. It's crucial in order to have your computer running smoothly. Now, some of the concepts that we're going to discuss is safety and security. That involves logging in your passwords, username. Then we're going to discuss threats like a virus threat, a Trojan, and remedies in the form of antivirus, anti-spyware. And these are examples. Now, in terms of physical access, one way in which data can be lost is through theft. Stolen smartphone, notebook, computer, external hard drive, and your flash disk. If that is stolen, apart from the device being stolen and loss thereof, it's also the loss of the data. Do not leave your storage devices unattended in public spaces, such as in school computers. So remember, when you use your memory sticks or your flash drives, remember to remove them. Make regular backups of your data. So to safeguard your data, you need to make backups so you don't lose it. Never store critical information only on a portable storage device. So critical information should also be stored on a fixed device or on a cloud, so it's not lost if the portable device is lost. Now, hardware failure also can cause loss of data, and this can be caused by mechanical damage. There are many moving parts inside your hard disk drive that can break down easily. So that can cause loss of data. Then we have power failure. Sudden changes in voltage may damage hard drives and other parts which are very sensitive to changes in voltage and strong magnetic fields. So we need to be guarded against power failure. And one of the precautions is to use a UPS, which we'll cover later on. Spilt liquids or damage through water, this can cause short circuit of electronic components, which are hard to recover and repair afterwards. So these are some of the precautions you need to look for to prevent your data from being damaged, your equipment from being damaged. So you need to be guarded about hardware failure. We're also looking at network vulnerability. Now, some of the vulnerabilities we have, one is a virus. A virus is malicious software. It is software that is intended to do harm. Now, that is loaded onto a user's computer without their knowledge. So virus is loaded without your knowledge, maybe by a memory stick that you may borrow from a friend, from downloading files on the internet, and the virus can be loaded onto your computer. Also by email. Worm, it's a type of malware, that's malicious software, that spreads copies of itself from one computer to another. So worm is able to make copies of itself. A worm can replicate itself without any action from the user. And it does not need to attach itself to another program to cause damage. Now, worms will scan a network for open ports and use these openings to spread through the network. So a worm can make copies of itself and spread, causing damage. Your Trojan is a type of malware that is often disguised as useful software. So it is disguised. A Trojan is disguised as useful software. Trojans can be used to gain access to user systems. Users are tricked by social engineering, executing the Trojan on the system. So you may get software that you would think is useful, and once you run the software, your system or your computer system can be infected by a Trojan. Trojans can enable cyber criminals to gain backdoor access to your system. One of the most dangerous types of Trojan horses is called a keylogger. A keylogger records keystrokes. So if you're typing in passwords and other sensitive information, that can be recorded. Next, we're looking at a rootkit. A rootkit is a malware that is designed to infect a computer and allow an attacker to install a set of tools that grant him remote access to the computer. So rootkit can infect your computer and allow remote access. So we say rootkits act as a backdoor that gives the attacker the ability to connect remotely to the infected machine. And once in control of your machine, the attacker can choose to remove and install specific components. They have control over your system. Another aspect in terms of vulnerability is spoofing. Now, what is spoofing? Spoofing is actually in the form of a mail, the email. The attacker disguises an email to pretend that the email is from a known source. So we call this a spoofed email. When you get an email that is not from the original source and it pretends that it is from an original source. For example, the attacker might send emails that appear to come from you to your friends and family with an urgent request for money while providing their own banking details. That's a spoofed email. Phishing. Now, phishing attacks try to obtain sensitive information like your username, passwords, and banking details by sending emails to users that look like an official email. Now, what happens with phishing? We look at this phishing. An email is usually sent and it contains a link to a fake site that will request your sensitive information. So you may get an email that tells you, for example, it seems to come from a banking site and tells you to click on the link and complete your banking details. So that is phishing. Now, phishing works together with spoofing because a spoofed mail is used for phishing. And again, remember, a spoofed mail is a mail that does not come from the original source. It is a pretense mail that the mail is coming from an original or trusted source, but it is not the case. So a spoofed mail is used in phishing attacks. It's used there to convince that the email is from a legitimate source. The spoofed mail is used there to convince that the email is from a legitimate source. Pharming. Now, pharming involves malicious code being installed in a computer or server, which misdirects the user to a fraudulent website. So pharming is used to take the user to a fake or fraudulent website. Now, unlike phishing, where you click on a link that will take you to a fake website, with pharming, even when you type the correct address, the code redirects you to a fraudulent website. So when you type the correct address, you are still taken to a fraudulent website. So to be guarded with pharming, always be aware of the website address you're typing and be aware of the site that you're going to after you type your website address at the URL. Now this website requests sensitive information. So if you go to this fake or fraudulent website, they request sensitive information like passwords and banking details. So remember, phishing contains a link to a fake site, but pharming, when you type in your website or you type in the URL that you want to go to, you are redirected to a fake or fraudulent website. Now, your general definition of malware is malicious software specifically designed to disrupt, damage, or gain unauthorized access to your computer system, like your virus, worm, and Trojan. They're all malicious software designed to disrupt your computer system. Now, remedies against these loss of data and vulnerabilities like malware. One is you need to create a backup. And creating a backup is the process of making copies of your computer data to use in the event that the original data is lost or destroyed. So one remedy is to create a backup. Now, talking about backups, there are different types of backups. One is a full backup. A full backup is when a copy is made of every single file and folder in the system. So a copy is made of all your files and all your folders. That's a full backup. It will take longer and uses up more storage space because you're copying all your files and folders. And to restore your data from the backup will be fast, however, to restore, because the other forms of backup you will see takes longer. Although it takes longer to make the backup, but because you have all the information in one stored at one point, then you can restore the entire data from the backup faster. Now, a differential backup, this takes place after a full backup. So it means you back up your hard drive, for example, you do a full backup, then copies of those files that have been changed since the full backup is now backed up. So differential backup, it starts with a full backup, and after that copies those files that have been changed since the full backup took place. So these keywords are since the full backup, those files are now backed up. So you have one full backup, and thereafter, whatever changes you made after the last full backup, that is added to your backup. The size of the differential copy increases each time a backup is taken until the next full backup is made. For example, if you backed up your files and on day 1 after the backup, you have 20 new files. A differential backup means you're adding the 20 files. But on day 2, if you have another 10 files, so you have a total of 30 files from the time you had your last full backup. So then it means you're uploading or backing up the 30 files. So every day you add the number of files and all that is backed up. So the size of the differential copy will increase each time a backup is taken. So it's all the files after the last full backup that needs to be backed up. That's your differential backup. Now we're looking at incremental backup. Incremental backup starts with a full backup as well. And after that, copies files that have changed since the last backup, which could be full or incremental. So if you backed up your files, then on day 1, if there was 20 files that you have created, that 20 files will be backed up, will be copied. On day 2, if you have 10 files, then only the 10 files will be backed up. So it's since the last incremental backup. So only the last 10 files will be copied. Unlike the previous one, right? Looking at your previous differential backup, you'd have had your 20 files and your 10 files, 30 files that have been copied on day 2. That's for your differential backup. Sorry. But in your incremental backup, you only copy the last changes, which is your 10. All right, so the keywords here is since the last backup, you copy those files. This will be a fast way of backing up. It will only back up the last files you had, the changes that you made. The disadvantage, though, of incremental backup is that when you want to carry out a complete restore, the most recent full backup and all the subsequent incremental copies must be restored. So if each day you have an incremental backup, then all those files for each day will have to be restored. And this process will be longer than both your other systems, than your full backup or differential backup. So incremental backup, it just copies the last changes that you made, remember, after the full or incremental backup. Now your backup locations, backups can be installed in many different locations. It can be local on your local hard drive or on site where your information is. It can be off-site on an online or a cloud. Now it's best to store backups off-site for safety reasons or on an online or a cloud. So if anything happens to your hard drive, for example, or the location of your computer. If it's offsite, then your information is still safe. Offsite means not at the same site where your current information is. So you're backing up and storing at a different site. Local backups are made on a storage medium that is kept on the same location as the original data. So it could be an external hard drive or network attached storage, NAS, network attached storage. Local backups can protect data from hard drive failures, accidental deletion, and virus attacks. But it's not as safe as offsite backup. Now, when the backup storage media is kept at a different location from the source, this is known as offsite backup. The backup can be done locally and then the storage medium is moved to another place. Offsite backup provides extra protection from theft, fire, and natural disasters. Online or cloud backup. Online backups are done frequently to a storage medium that is always connected to the source being backed up by an internet connection. Many commercial data centers offer this as a subscription service to customers. This offers the same protection as an off-site backup. So in case of theft, fire, and natural disasters, the online will also be a good option as well as the off-site backup. Now to protect your data, you can use a UPS, an uninterruptible power supply. Now a UPS unit is a device, there's an example here, is a device that allows a computer to keep running for a short time when the power is lost due to power failure. So the UPS device provides protection from power surge. So by having a UPS and there's a loss of power, the UPS device will protect your computer and allows you to shut down. So UPS contains a battery that takes over when the device detects a power failure, giving the user enough time to save what they're working on and shut the computer down. So UPS will save on loss of data through power surges and through not saving, because UPS allows you time to save your data. Next, we're looking at passwords. Now, in terms of passwords, these are some of the guidelines for a strong password. Always use at least 8 characters in your password and at least 2 of which are numeric. So this makes it difficult to guess. Use a mixture of both upper and lowercase letters because your passwords are case sensitive. So you need a mixture of upper and lowercase. Include a mixture of letters and numbers. Include at least 1 special character. For example, you can use the exclamation mark or the @ symbol. Do not use personal information in your password because people can figure it out. So use personal like your pet's name or your location or your favorite restaurant, for example, people may figure it out. Never use a password that is the same as your account number. Do not use passwords that are easy to spot while you're typing them in. For example, all keys next to each other like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Because when you are typing your password, people will notice or people can notice that you're pressing consecutive keys and it makes it easy for them to pick up on your password. So you can't use things like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or QWERTY. Access rights will also protect your information. Most networks are set up with access rights, which means the administrator has created accounts for all users with the right to access certain files and folders. So they are granted permissions to sometimes open, read, write, create, or delete. So these are all the permissions that may be allowed. So certain folders people may only have the right to open and read. There are others that may be able to write to that folder or to create or to delete. Firewall. A firewall is hardware or software or a combination of both. So if you look at your internet and there's your network, you can have a firewall that will protect the network from the internet. So it can be a hardware, software, or both. So a firewall monitors incoming and outgoing traffic on a network. The firewall decides whether to stop the traffic based on security rules. Its purpose is to create a barrier between an internal network and incoming traffic from an external source to block malicious traffic. So your firewall will try to block malicious traffic that comes from the internet. Now, just to go back there, with your firewall, you'll find that you have Windows Firewall, which can protect your computer from the internet. And it provides warning to you when software is trying to access the internet. So your firewall monitors traffic between your computer and the internet. And in a network, it monitors traffic between the network and the internet. Now, your antivirus software, right, is a system software designed to prevent, detect, and remove malware infections on computing devices. So your antivirus can detect malware, like viruses, and it allows you to remove the virus. An antivirus software can protect against a wide variety of threats, also including your keyloggers, your Trojan horses, worms, rootkit, spyware, and ransomware. It depends on the antivirus system you purchase. The one we're using currently is Avast. It can protect your computer from a wide variety of threats. All antivirus programs perform the same task or the following tasks. They scan specific files for malware or known malicious patterns, allows you to schedule scans to automatically run for you. So you can schedule a scan when you're not using the computer. So you can scan your entire system for viruses or any other malware. It allows you to initiate a scan of a particular file or your entire computer or external storage. So there are options in your antivirus software that allow you, for example, to scan a memory stick or scan your hard drive. It can remove any malicious code that it detects. Depends on the settings, you'll be notified of an infection and asked if you want to clean the file, or the program will automatically do this. So you can set it to automatically remove infections, or you can set it to request permission to remove infections. Our next concept is validation to protect data. Okay, to prevent theft of data and personal details, computer systems must be programmed to validate whether the user that is logging into the computer is an authentic user or not. It also validates logging in to ensure that the user is an authentic user. Right, that is the end for your section on computer management.